Welcome to another episode of Soul Filling, where you get your soul fed. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Kobe.
And today we are talking about the fall. The seasons are changing, and it's time to grab our matcha tea. It's time to grab our covers. It's time to walk in the park with the leaves falling down. It's fall. So
It is.
Jazz, I know that you had an article you want to bring up about the symbolism of fall. Can you break it down for us?
Yes, and I just came from the inspiration when Kobe was like, we moving into a new season, and she was like, we should talk about fall, and I was just like, As she was saying that, it just dawned on me, like, what is the meaning of fall? Because we think about spring, we think about new beginnings, and when you think about summer, I don't really know. I haven't looked up summer, but I was just like, what does fall even mean? And so I went to I trusty source Google and then found this amazing article on Bustle. And it basically just talks about how autumn can basically spring about so the name of the article is 7 symbolic meanings of autumn. And so it just went through the different things that symbolizes around autumn. So one of the first things was change. And when you look at the leaves are changing, but that can also mean a deeper meaning within our lives, and we're going to talk about that a little more. But in the mystery, I think about October, the mysteriousness, and I don't know, it just makes me think about that, so to speak. But it was more so in the article talking about how life, the mysteries that come with our life, preservation, protection, and I didn't even think about that in that way, but we're gonna dive deep when we get there, in the comfort. And I do feel like it's a much more comforting season in fall. I don't know why, those comfort foods coming in, and we're just taking that transition from the summer foods and the balance. And then the 7th one was letting things go. So
yes. And she also the Kirsten Nunez is the author of this article, and she mentions how this is the best time for self-reflection, awareness, and mindfulness. And I agree. Like this is like that time to like sit with your tea, like you were saying, too, and just reflect, sit on the porch, enjoy the nice breeze, the weather change. Like this is really for me that time of like, okay, we're in September, about to be October. Like, what has gone on since the beginning of the year? Where am I at right now? And how do I want to end off this, this year?
That's so true. And I just feel like I'm glad that you said like time to just sit and reflect, because I feel like that is our time to do that. And I know we've been in quarantine and we had a lot of time to sit and reflect, but also in quarantine, it's also been trying to figure things out. And so there's a stress that came with it. But now it's like, even though we haven't figured things out, we're like, things are the way that they are. And so now we're not thinking so much of like, we know what our COVID routine is and what we want to do. But now it's time to just like, okay, now that that's kind of under control, now we get to sit with our true selves and just sit back and reflect. And I feel like in the last week, I think we had like a mini little tropical storm, and Houston floods really bad. And so I moved into my new apartment on Sunday, and then I was basically trapped until Wednesday because it was flooding all around my apartment.
Oh my God.
So my mom and dad and brother were all like, you better stay your ass home. Like, don't move. Like, I'm like, okay. Like, luckily I was able to get some food before I had internet, but it really forced me to just be still and to just enjoy my new home without like, all I was thinking about was like decorating and what do I need? I need to get more stuff back from the house, but it really took some time to just like sit my ass down and be alone and working and really get used to being alone, like alone. So it was really nice, and I just felt very secure.
It's funny that you said that, because now that the season has changed, I have been feeling this strong pull to just recenter, refocus, like, I don't know, just be in that alone space. Like today, I'm just gonna go. I was telling Jarvis last night, I'm about to go to my mom's house for like a couple days just so that I can just reset and recharge and just, I don't know, I just need some alone time because and we've talked about this, I think in the Power of Silence episode, or the episode that's tailored around silence, and how it's just so important for us to get that reflective moment, that reflective time where we could just sit alone in ourselves, because it's something that's so powerful when you are in that space by yourself, it, without the distraction, without the noise, I was like, even mama, I'm like, mama, you might not be coming to your house because I need some alone time. No, I'm joking. But I was just like, no interruptions, no interruptions for real, because I really feel like I need that time, because it talks about it. There's many studies and it's just like, it's a time where it's like rejuvenating. It literally heals you on the internal, and not only that, it really clears your space, and I'm gonna say chakras. It clears your chakras where you can actually take in the messages that God wants to pour into you. And so I just feel like, we have been going on the hustle and bustle, the fast pace of summer, just trying to adjust and adapt with the world. And now I feel like, okay, seasons are changing. I need to just go and get in that reflective space. It's like, in spring, you do spring cleaning. And I feel like in autumn, I'm like, I need to come into myself for a second, and then I'm gonna go back out so I can be ready. That maybe that's just the impact in me. I don't know. But I just really feel like I know that there's so much power in that alone time with God. Because I just feel, to be honest, I fell off a little bit with my daily practices, and I call it a daily sadhana. But basically I fell off my daily, I'm waking up, listening to my music that give me my gospel music, that give me my mind state, reading my Bible, meditating, doing my yoga, things that I felt like that made me centered. And I was like, okay, I need to get recharged, because I want to step into the new year's, just setting myself up for the new year, so that I'm like on top of it. I ain't trying to crawl into the new year where I barely made it. So I'm like, I'm just making that self-reflection, that awareness, like, okay, I need this time. I don't want to be away from Betty. I'm like, but I'm like, okay, but I need this. This is gonna make us better.
Right. And I just love like how the first symbolic meaning of autumn is change in the article. And this influencer, on Instagram by the name of Tiffany Malone, she just posted something about change, and it really just hit my heart. She posted a picture that she had taken in March. And, she was just talking, and she just posted it, the other day. And she was talking about how change is inevitable. So much has changed. Her perspective has changed, and how we've evolved, and how America needs change. But all of that at the end, she was like, I never wanted to go back to normal again. And I'm just like, girl, yes. I feel you.
That's so beautifully said.
Thank you. I was like, who are you talking about? Hey, what influence you about to talk
like,
about?
Wow, it's beautiful. Like, wow.
But you know what? I also saw something on Instagram, and it's really true. I don't, we can't stay the same. I think there's some still water. Y'all know the saying, like it doesn't do anything for you if you're not changing, you're not growing. And I think that once we understand, like, we are in constant evolution. Like, as humans, we are constantly evolving, and if we're not evolving, something is really wrong. And so though we are always trying to get to the next thing and the next thing, and we need to be satisfied in the things that we have, but also evolve into something better. Change can be good. Like change is good as long as you're evolving into something better. But if you are staying stuck somewhere, or if you don't, those people who just don't want to change, like, we like it like this, but it could be to the detriment to America, to your body, to your essential growth. And I was listening to this thing, this like video on Instagram, and it was talking about like where the scripture says like, give me a peace that surpasses all understanding. And so if we really think about that, why do we need peace that surpasses understanding? That means that our life is not gonna make sense. You know, life is not gonna be traditional or normal and things of that nature, because if it was, we wouldn't need it to surpass understanding. And so sometimes we are not gonna understand how things work. That's just life. It's an unknown thing. That's one thing we know for sure. It's unknown and things change. So that's why we ask for things like that, a peace that surpasses all understanding, because our life isn't supposed to be normal. It's supposed to be extraordinary and abundant and magical in our own right. And it looks different for every single person. And things will not make sense, guys. It won't make sense. But that's why we have to lean on that scripture. Like, this ain't gonna make sense, but I have a peace in my heart. And so I just thought that was crazy. I'm like, that's true. It's like, I should be at peace right now, right? COVID's going on. You know, COVID's going on. I'm about to lose my health insurance. I don't know how this business is gonna go. I have rent to pay, but there's a peace so deep in my heart that I know it's for me. So I know I'm good regardless. Like, I'm good. So I'm like, it's different.
It's so different. No. No, I was just gonna say that's so beautiful, because that literally brings us to the next point in the article is mystery.
Before you go
okay
so
yes.
and that's why I feel like with my pregnancy I've been able to be, you know, so peaceful, and it's been a pleasant pregnancy for me, because I've just been in that space of like, okay, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I don't know how my birthing experience is going to go. I don't know how, you know, living situations, all of these things that you can start, your mind can start, you know, just thinking about. It's like I'm in that space right now, just where taking it day by day, just really relishing in the present. Because at one point, you know, I asked God, I want to be a mom, I want to be a wife, I want to be these things. And it's like we focus on the future so much that you just forget, like, hey, at one point I asked God to be pregnant. I asked God for this. So really savor in that and enjoy that.
Girl, you was talking. We be forgetting what we asked God for.
Yeah, we forget.
Come on now. But yeah, you're right. Like the peace though. Anyways, I'm just excited. I'm excited.
Me too. This new season is just so beautiful. And in both of your stories, it just ties together, like how you pray for this apartment at one point in time and to be a future entrepreneur. You pray to be that wife, that mother. It's like we pray for these things, and we have to literally, so going to the next point, I just feel like that peace and being peaceful through the journey, that's really what it's about. Just really, really, and I think Kobe even said this on last week's episode, just enjoying that, having joy along the way, because and it's just so beautiful, because the next point in the article, it says mystery. So I feel like all of this is a mystery to us, so to speak. Like, we don't know what to expect. We never been here, done this before. We don't know. It's like, even if you read every rule book there is to read, it's still gonna be a mystery to you, because you haven't experienced it yourself. But like Tiffany was just saying, like that peace, like through it all, and still knowing that I'm gonna be okay regardless, like through it all, Kobe is just living in peace and enjoying this. Because I just think it's so important that we embrace and cherish these moments. Because me and Jarvis was just talking the other night, and we was like, man, we really have to cherish the time where we don't have it all and don't have, he's like, I remember, you know, that point in time we was struggling nickel and diamond to get this, that, and the third. And he's like, now it's like we're moving on to the same process, but with our future home. And he was like, man, we got to really enjoy this time with our family, because we both live with our family. And so he's like, because one day we're not gonna, you know, this is not going to be our norm. And so we're going to reminisce back onto these times and be like, man, I wish I would have cheered. So he was like, let's just really enjoy this process. And I was like, you know what, you were so right. Because there's always tons of things to complain about, tons of things to be like, dang, I would do this different, that different, this, that, and the third. But there's also so much more that we can really just enjoy. And so I think that's really what it's about in your mystery, just enjoying that process and knowing that it's all gonna come out for your good. Cause look, it is. And you ladies, y'all are living proof, a living testimony of like things are working for your good. Like when you don't worry, and in the Bible it talks about this, God always talks about fret not. Like he uses that on several different scriptures. You can give many examples where he's talking about fret not this or fret not that. And so fret just is an old term word for worry. So worry not, don't worry about things, because essentially worrying is that, going back to our pre-podcast, before the podcast, when Tiff was talking about the energy that we're sending into the world, we had a little mini show about this Netflix series episode called Healed, and how you literally sending these neurotransmitters into the world about the things that we worry about the most. And so if you worried like, how I'm gonna get my rent paid, how I'm gonna have food in my refrigerator, or how my pregnancy gonna go, is it gonna go smooth, is it gonna go this, that, or how my son gonna, it's just like all these things you could worry about. But why worry? Because worrying is like sending a prayer for the thing that you do not want. So instead, instead of worry, let's focus on all the things. And I know sometimes it can be hard, y'all. I know, and it may not be perfect every single day, 365, but let's spend more time focusing that energy on the things that we do want, on the positive situations that we do want, because we're calling them there faster, versus worrying about the things that we don't want, and which causes us to stay in the current situation or create a negative situation that we don't want to actually happen.
Yes, I always go back to the saying, do the best you can with what you have or what you got now. And I think it's just so amazing that you were saying, like, you and Jarvis, y'all were saying like, we need to be happy now with what we have. And even in the past, when y'all didn't have all that y'all have now, it's like you want to be happy in every situation that you're in, having joy. Because one of my prayers was like, one of the things I was actually scared of when I moved out was, before I moved out, I was like thinking to myself, what if I get this apartment and I'm not happy? And so you can get everything that you want and not be happy. We've seen it on so many famous people. They have all this money, they have all the access, whatever they want they could get, but they're not happy. So my prayer was like, Lord, look, I want to be happy and I want to be joyful when I receive the blessings that you have for me, and I want to be joyful and happy right now. And that's something I'm really big on. I don't care. The other things don't matter if you're not happy. That's what I'm saying. And what you were saying about like living with your parents and your family, it is so important, because we talked about that a lot beforehand. Like, this is probably the last time that we're all going to be with our parents in a living space right now. And so I'm really happy that I was able to really, because I moved out late. 28 is like pretty late for most people. And I really did. I could look back and just think about all the memories that me and my mother have. And I'm actually happy that we had to spend a lot of time in COVID together, where I wasn't even going to work. And now I feel really satisfied in the fact that I spent so much time with my mother. And then she was over here yesterday anyways, but it's just like, I feel very satisfied in the fact that I didn't rush through it, and that I really built a stronger relationship with my mother, and also made so many amazing memories. Guys, if y'all knew how much we danced in the living room, outside with the music blowing, how many times we prayed together, how many times we had just real conversations, and how she just changed. I want to cry now, but she's just an amazing woman, and I love her. Anyways, so yeah, cherish the position that you're at, because you're not gonna be there always.
Mm-hmm. No.
You're muted. Okay. So if we're talking about mystery, I did also want to talk about mystery. Also, it's a lot of faith involved in that. And so we were talking about like being still and really reflecting and not really knowing what the future has to hold. But the fact that you're taking the time to reflect and be still and be open to change and open to mystery is faith. And faith without works is dead. You know what I'm saying? And faith moves God. So if we are always here stressing or worrying about the next thing or not enjoying what we have right now, and enjoying is also being a good steward of what you have. You can't have this water here. God gave you this water, and you're like, man, this dusty ass Orzaka water. I need some Aquafina. I need some Boss. God's gonna be like, I'm not about to give you nothing because you are not grateful and you're not enjoying this clean water that you have right now. So have faith that maybe this is not the water that you want, but in the future it will come. And then he was like, oh, she has faith that I'm gonna get Boss water. He's like, oh, guys, she enjoying this Orzaka. And now I'm gonna bless her with Boss. It might be a year from now, it might be 3 years from now, it might be 10 minutes from now, it might be one day from now, but it will come. And so I just think there's so much in being still is like not overcompensating basically. And I wrote this post on Facebook because yesterday, and y'all could jump in anytime you want because I'm really being very, very long-winded. But my dad called me yesterday and at like 10:30 p.m. and I'm like, what is he calling me for at so late? And but he was like, hey Tiff, like what are you doing? Like what are you up to? And I'm like, oh, I'm in bed and I'm working. And because I'm always working, y'all. I'm like, but that's gonna change. But he's like, I'm in bed and I'm working. He's like, Tiffany, you're always working. And I'm like, well, I gotta get to the bag, ha, cheeky, like, daddy, I gotta get to the bag. And so he was like, well, Tiffany, you already got the bag. And I'm thinking to myself, that's true. And then I was like, well, maybe I'm just trying to make sure my client's happy. And I was working on this task that essentially it wasn't a pressing task. Like it could be done 2 weeks from now. But I wanted to get it done because I'm like, I want to make sure my client's happy. But he was like, well, you need to make sure you're happy. And I was like, ooh, okay. I said, okay. I closed my computer down and I was like, why am I working on this thing at 10:30 when I already spent this was a Friday, all week working. Why can't I just enjoy my time? So I really feel like God had my dad call me so late at night to just tell me to stop working. And so I did. I closed my computer. I was like, I'll handle this on a weekday. And then it just made me just think like, why am I so easily able to put someone else's happiness over my own? And so it's just, I feel like we all do that. We really are easy to go above and beyond for so many other people, but not able to go above and beyond for ourselves. And so that was one thing. But then it reminded me of like how God talks to me. He usually talks to me in threes through people. And then I was walking the other day in Herman Park, and I had a shirt on that said "God got me," and I wasn't thinking nothing of it. I just had the shirt on, and I was just walking. And I was walking, and this Black lady like stopped me and was like, yeah, God does have you. He got you. And I'm like thinking to myself, what is she talking about? Because I forgot what I was wearing. And then I was like, oh, she's talking about my shirt. And because I was like just laughing. I was like, and then I was like, I didn't know what she was talking about. But then I was like, oh, my shirt. But it really made me pause and think like, wait, God does have you. I was like, wait, God does have you. God does have you. And so what I'm trying to say is we stress about things, or we try to overcompensate for the bag that's already secured by the Most High God. Like the bag is already there. And I think that we have to tap into our faith and realize like what's for us, we have already. we have it. And sometimes we feel like we have to do the most, or we have to just do all these crazy things when the grace of God is given to us as a gift. It doesn't even have to be earned, because what's ours is ours. And so I just wanted to leave y'all with that, because, you know, but as long as you're doing the best you can, you don't have to overcompensate for what's already yours, you know? So
exactly. And that's where that's the place that I'm in with, you know, just mystery. It's just like I'm focusing on just doing the work. And it's just like, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, you know, then it doesn't. Or I know, you know, it'll come when God wants it to come. But it's just that is what gives me comfort, is knowing that, okay, you know what, at least I tried, at least I'm doing the work, at least I gave, you know, whatever it is, you know, my all, or, you know, my attention, my effort. And that gives me peace about the unknown.
that's so good. And comfort is actually one of the 7 symbols. It says, this season is a prime time for seeking comfort in the midst of dropping temperatures. Creating a serene and snug space is one of the best perks of autumn, after all. It also gives you a chance to learn about what makes you feel warm and safe. And I just think that's really big, especially for you, Kobe, because you're pregnant. You need to be in a warm space. Like, you need to be in a comfort space. You need to be comfortable. Your baby has to be comfortable. You have to be at a calm space. You have a whole living, beautiful being in your belly now. And so this is a time to just be comfortable.
That is so true. And it's so funny because, like I was telling Jazz, I've been I don't know if this was before the podcast, or I was telling her I cleaned off my dressers, because you know, like, surfaces can be just a space to throw mail, just all type of stuff, books, mail, deodorant, lotion, just all type of stuff. So I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna find space for these things, a drawer, or, you know, something. And so now I have this space, and like, I didn't know it was a thing, but there's a such thing in pregnancy called nesting. And that's literally what I've been doing, y'all. And that's basically where pregnant women just go into this cleaning mode. Like, they're deep cleaning, you know, just all their spaces, closets, rooms, you know, just trying to get everything organized and ready for the baby. And they say, you know, I've been reading on it, and they say it's just like a normal motherly instinct. You just want to create a safe and comfortable space for you and your baby. And I didn't realize I was doing it until I was watching the video on YouTube, and this lady was like, yeah, so when you into the 3rd trimester, you're going to start experiencing something called nesting. And I was like, what? And
what?
Like, yeah, I like cleaned my mom's kitchen, her pantry. And I did the same thing. Like, that's where it started. I like went through, and it doesn't help because I've been watching something called The Home Edit on Netflix. Yes, Tiffany, it's this dope show with these 2 young ladies. I forget
The Home,
but yes, it's called The Home Edit, and they go in and cleans people's closets, pantries, organize their rooms, and they've they started online on Instagram, and they've grown this $1 million business just online from cleaning. Yeah, now they do celebrities, they travel, and, you know, do just your normal everyday people, your everyday folks, business women and men, and they help them get their spaces together. So that didn't help that I've been watching that and then trying to incorporate it. So yes, I'm going crazy with the cleaning.
You eat off the floor at Kobe house right now.
Rearranging furniture. Yes.
Like, hold on, you know, you ain't supposed to be lifting this. Like, I got this.
That's amazing. And I think that's so beautiful because, like,
all has,
I was just saying, I think that's so beautiful because you didn't even, just the natural instinct. That's crazy to me. Like, like,
right? I was just thinking that. Oh no.
But isn't that the thing in life? Like, so you know how the Bible says, like, be kid-like. What is that? Childlike? Yeah.
Be childlike.
And so a child is never like stressing about like, am I gonna walk? Am I gonna talk? Am I gonna eat? We just know that it's going to happen. Like we just
Right.
we just have so much faith. Like, oh, my parents got me. Like, I don't know about what these legs are, but I'm gonna walk anyways. But it's just like, and that's the cool thing about change and evolution. It's like we essentially know exactly what we're supposed to do, whether it's not here, it's just our natural essence of being a human. And as we grow up and get older, we start having all these other factors coming in. We're like, the what if starts to come in again. But like you began nesting, and it's actually a thing without even thinking about it, not without even realizing that you're creating space. Ooh, come on, let's go. We talked about letting go. You're creating space for your new miracle, your new human. That's
Yes.
beautiful. So you already, what I'm trying to say is, guys, we already know what we're doing without even knowing.
And it just makes me think of, we already have all that we need inside of us. Like we already have everything. Like we already equipped. We already get, it's like we seek these outside things, but instinctively, like that story just made me just think about how powerful, like you said, babies don't be like, am I gonna walk or not? Am I gonna get there? Or am I gonna, they don't have those second doubts. But us as adults, full grown adults, we all oftentimes we start questioning our abilities, questioning whether we can do this or not, questioning. But I just love how it just worked like clockwork, Kobe. How you were naturally just innately, not even knowing that you were doing something that you was designed to do. Like that is just crazy how the dots connect. It's so crazy. I love it. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. And it just made me think, guys, we already have everything we need inside of us to be, do, have. Whatever it is, we already equipped and instinctively. Now, sometimes, yes, we're gonna have to put in some work for sure, but it's still like, it just makes it takes that stress away, that stressor of feeling like I'm not gonna be ready when the time comes, because the time is ready for you, whether you're ready or not for the time. Like, who knew that you was going you were cleaning and clearing off all these things? Because y'all remember when Kobe did the closet video where she went in full-fledged cleaning mode. What's the other lady, the minimalist? It made me think about that, how she would just go into organizing, and how you would just,
or something like that.
yes, her. I just think it's so beautiful. I think it's so beautiful how everything just comes full circle.
Going back to the principle of comfort, I think it's like also having comfort in some things aren't going to be easy, like you're saying. The working part, like we have to work for stuff, like you're still gonna have to work for stuff. And I say all that to say, because like right now I've been working a lot, like I tell y'all every time, but I've been working a lot, but it really has had a strain on my mental health, because like literally my brain was just hurting because I'm tired. Like my brain is tired of fixing problems all day, because that's essentially what it's doing. It's like you working out or walking. That's how my mom put it. She's like, well, you're working all the time. That's like you're running a marathon. You're running all day. Your legs are gonna be tired. They're gonna be weak. And so it really made me reflect and say, like, okay, I have to be honest with you guys. Like, I was like thinking to myself, like, I don't know if this is what I want. Entrepreneurship is harder than being at a 9 to 5, because Absolutely. You have your set things. You don't really have to work for some jobs. You don't really have to work all 8 hours. It's just been the hardest mentally I've ever had to work, because it's just, you have to keep your clients happy. But I say all that to say, I had to ask myself, like, whoa, like, is this really what I want? And I'll tell y'all the answer on Patreon, but because I have to, it has to be like, but what I did realize, and I think we talked about this on Art in Many Forms, is like the things that I'm doing now is a setup. And though it might be hard and it might be tiresome, when I look back and change my perspective on things, I look at it and it's like, wow, I'm learning so much. I'm learning so many systems. God is preparing me for whatever I want to do through this season. And so now I know, like, if I could work this hard for so many other people, I can be able to do that for myself and for soul filling in a systematic way that makes sense. It's like I was telling y'all in the other episode, my mind has been so open to what abundance is. And so now that I see abundance for my clients and for the people that they are helping, I see it for us as well. And so, yes, I might need to work harder and get more training and get my brain exercising more. But I have comfort in knowing, even though sometimes I'd be sad because I'm working so hard, that is, I have comfort in knowing that it's all molding me for whatever destiny God has for me, if that makes sense. So, we have faith, and it's easy to have faith in the good times, and we should celebrate the good times. We should praise and when something's wrong and when nothing's wrong. But I want you guys to know that even though it might be hard now, that He is preparing you for your blessing, your miracle, or setting you up for something that you need. You can't get to the next level without learning some things or failing or something that might seem so hard. It's really just getting you to the next step. So just have comfort in that season as well.
Yes. Last thing I want to say about comfort is, it's going to be the unpopular opinion, but you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable as well. I know we always laugh at Jazz because also with the season changing, that means the weather changes. And, it's a lot of y'all out here who don't like the cold. But
I told Jarvis this year I'm ready. I'm ready. I love the cold. After that Colorado trip, it changed my soul, y'all. After we went to Colorado, I think I love the cold now. But no, you're right. I haven't been the best fan. I broke up with one of my boyfriends in high school because we was in the cold too long. I not like the cold.
Oh my gosh. And I just think that's just a perfect example of how, it's just with each season, this is going to be some things that's going to make you uncomfortable and that you're not going to like, but you just got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable because it's not going to change. Like all you can do is just prepare yourself and be better and be ready for the changes that are coming.
Right.
Or just align,
Girl, you're right. But I was gonna say, yeah, you have to just be like Jasmine says. She's like, I'm gonna be prepared. And some things take adjustments. Since we're talking about change and being comfortable with the uncomfortable, the new things that are in your life are gonna take time to adjust to and build different routines. And usually, adjustment is hard. Like it's like, oh, I need to adjust. I need to figure this out. You have a time where you need to get prepared and figure things out, and that's not always easy. So
this is the time to like reevaluate your schedule. Like I was telling y'all, daylight say like it's getting darker earlier, so it's just like, ooh, okay, I gotta really be on my stuff because I want to take a walk or go for a walk before it gets dark. And so I'm like, okay, I really got to be on it because I got to hurry up and get outside so I can do my walk or wake up early and do it, which I'm not too happy about. So it's just, once again, being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, so true. I think about it for everything in our lives. Like I think about Jasmine, how you have a whole new daughter, and I'm sure you had to adjust to that. With Kobe being pregnant, adjusting to that. With me in entrepreneurship, adjusting to that. So we all know there's this space in between. It's just like, oh, figuring it out. But
exactly,
we do figure it out.
We do. We figure it out. And like you said, going through those little uncomfortable spaces, I feel like in okay, this is just if you're a trader. In Forex, we call it consolidation. And so and what that basically is, and this is just when the market is trying to figure itself out. It's trying to go through that uncomfortable space. They don't know if it's going on an uptrend or a downtrend. It's just trying to figure it out. And so I think we can apply that same thing with life, like you said, in the seasons. Kobe talked about how you know, the past me didn't like the cold so much. But I feel like it's just figuring it out. Now I know, okay, be prepared, wear layers. Why nobody ever told me about wearing layers? I mean, I wish I would have knew. Like, I was just trying to put one coat on. That was not working for me. But no, just figuring it out. How can you basically adjust so that you can be equipped in this moment? So when things do take a turn, you're gonna be ready. So but knowing that when that uncomfortable space do come, it's not necessarily a time for you to quit, to give up, to just throw in the towel. It's more so keeping that mind, keep your game plan. You might not be able to go as hard as you was when you were, you know, feeling 100%, but still doing what you can, doing it the best you can, like still putting forth your absolute best effort in that uncomfortable space until you figure out how you are going to adjust so that, you know, it's no longer uncomfortable for you. The goal is not to, and this is what I've kind of always tried to do, like avoid the cold. It's not necessarily to avoid the uncomfortableness. It's more so figuring out how you can adjust so that it can become comfortable for you. So I think that's the goal when we think about comfort, knowing that and understanding that everything's not going to be.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think I was watching this IG live. I feel like I get all my inspiration from Instagram. But there's this lady on IG live and she was like, it's come to the point that she's pushed herself so much being uncomfortable that she was now being uncomfortable is comfortable for her, if that makes sense. Like, she has taken so many risks, she has done so many things, she invested so much that she's like, at this point, I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that's a good space to be in.
I just want to piggyback off that because that's so true. That's what it was for me. Like, to the point when me and Jarvis, we started our financial journey about a year ago. And when we really, I mean, just got serious, and it just took going away from those old habits that were so comfortable for us. It was so comfortable, like I was saying on a couple podcasts, is to go treat myself or to go to Whole Foods and justify spending $1 million on one plate that I could have got and spent for a whole week. But now it's to the point I don't even feel comfortable doing that thing anymore, if that makes sense. I don't feel comfortable being reckless and spending frivolously anymore. Like, the thing that was comfortable for me is like, dang, why was I doing that? What was I thinking? Now it's more comfortable to be like, okay, let me budget this accordingly. Is that going to be efficient? Okay. And then, you know, still working in those cheat days, though. I don't even want to call them cheat days, them treat days, them treat yourself days, instead of having them treat yourself days 7 days a week like I was doing. So I just feel like you will eventually, I think that's what it is, those habits that you were comfortable with, they can begin to transform or transform into new habits that are now the new norm, the new comfort, in a sense.
That's so true. And I think that like the last one is, and I think that we skipped balance, but I could only think about letting go right now. Is one of the principles, one of the 7 symbolic principles of autumn, according to this article. The last one was letting go. And it just brings me back to Kobe's story about her being able to clear her space and let go of some things to make room for what's new in our lives. And so in our reflection, think about what things do you really need to let go of, what things that you don't really need anymore. I think moving is a good process because you, while I was moving, I think I told y'all this, I intentionally watched the Minimalist documentary on Netflix while I was packing and moving, because I wanted to be reminded, I had already watched it, of, you know, what minimalism is. And so Now when I'm buying things, I wouldn't say I'm a minimalist. I don't think that is my calling. That's my life journey. I would say I'm trying to be minimalish ish, and really only get the things or keep the things that adds value to my life and that I really, 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 really want. Like it comes to the point like I have not even bought towels yet because I am bent on loving the towels I get. Like I just cannot get any towels. Like I want some towels that are the right color, the plushness, the right texture. And it's just been like that for everything. And also knowing like in this process, like in moving, like you just want everything to be up, everything ready to go. But it's a process. It's like to really find the things that you love and to really get them. Just like getting this apartment was a process, the 3-year process, you know, figuring out the things that you want. Like I went everywhere around here, every apartment complex I went to see if I liked it, if I liked the price, and nothing made me feel better than being right here. And so and so I'm just saying take that into like what you bring into your home, what you put into your mind, the people that you spend time with. Like, is that is that is it does it fill your soul? Basically. The things, the people you have fill your soul. And now I want to talk about like, but if y'all have anything to say on that, then I have another thing. I know we're kind of running late on time, over time, but if y'all have
Real quick, I just wanted to add to that because it made me think about when you were saying like I don't want to just get any towels. I watched the minimalist just to make sure that I was, you know, being very specific, and it made me think about and work about this all the time on previous episodes, but just being intentional, being very, very intentional with what you bring into your space, not just bringing it in there just because it's available, because it's easily accessible, it's easy to get. Do that thing really, really feel and feed your soul? Is it going to make you happy? And I want to talk just a quick story about Jarvis and I, because he plays basketball, and right now in Houston there's this money tournament that's going on for 15,000, and he's played on the previous money. Right, I'm like, okay. So last month he played in the money tournament for 5,000, but we didn't win, and he was very, very unhappy with the results. And so moving to this tournament where they upped the stakes by like 3 times, and so he's like saying, okay, I'm just gonna play with the same, or he's like, I'm not gonna play with that team, I'm gonna play my old team. And I'm like, but wait, let's make sure you're being intentional. Like, is that somewhere where it's really, really gonna make your soul feel happy? Are you gonna be, is your soul gonna be fed? Are you gonna feel fulfilled? Like if you're playing for this amount of money and you really want to have a shot at, because I know you could actually win, like without a shot of a doubt, if you have the right pieces to the puzzle, if you're very intentional about the teammates that you're playing with, like just because everyone's calling him, asking him like, you want to play with us, you want to run with us, you want to run? I'm like, wait, before you say yes and commit to anyone, make sure you're making an intentional decision, thinking like, okay, can this person really play with you? Or do y'all have good chemistry? Are you going to be happy when, if let's say y'all do win the money? Are you going to really feel like you contributed, your soul was fed, and that you were just happy? And so he was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. I really might want to take some time and think about this and be intentional about the decision. And when you were talking about your apartment, it made me think about the same thing. Like, you went everywhere in Houston. I know you did. I seen you do it. Like, every time I would call you, if I was with you for a Sunday brunch, you were like, let's go look at apartments. I was like, okay, girl, let's go. And so, but you were so intentional to the point. And I think a lot of times we get into that space where we settle. And I don't know how letting go turned into, but even letting things go, like being very intentional about the things that you had to let those other offers go. You had to say that, I can't take this because it really will not truly fill my soul for the long run. So just being mindful of the things that we do take and allow and accept, or don't allow and accept in our life, being very intentional about them. Okay. That's all I wanted to say.
So my little nuggets on balance is this, with us entering fall and it being COVID, you have kids going back to school, you got sports, you got work, you got, all these different things. And I know like with Tiff, I know a lot of people are struggling with that work-life balance, especially when you are at your computer all the time, you know, so it's easy for you to um, be accessible 24/7 when you are at home and working from home, because, you know, people feel like they can just reach you or you can do things, you know, all the time. And so this is really, like I said, just that time again to just reevaluate your schedule and really find that balance between, okay, you know, this is breakfast time. I'm only going to focus on breakfast. I'm not going to wake up and look at emails just quite yet. I'm going to, you know, eat breakfast with my family, or, you know, I'm going to take this walk. Cause it's hard, you know, we got emails on our phones, you know, so it's just so easy for us to wake up and just start looking at emails before we wake up and look at the mirror in the mirror and just really check on ourselves. So really just find that schedule and that balance that works for you during this time, because it's going to be critical to you, just your happiness and your comfort and all of that. And as far as letting go, you know, just as the, you know, we talk about the seasons changing in the article, just talk about the leaves falling, and just really focusing on those, just looking in within yourself and figuring out, okay, what are some things, what are some situations that I just need to let go. With COVID, I know we feel like we've lost a lot of things, or it took certain things from us. We didn't get the summer that we wanted. We didn't get the body that we wanted. Oh, this 2020 was going to be my year to be snatched, but dang it, I'm pregnant now, you know? So just letting go of, you know, the things that didn't happen, or the things that did happen that, you know, we didn't expect or whatever. So just being one with those and just letting go that idea of, okay, this situation ruined my life, or, you know, it's a, what did we say last time? It was this is a blessed demic. It's not a pandemic, it's a blessed demic. So those are my two things with, yeah, balance and letting go.
I love that you said that, because it reminds me of like when the leaves are falling, what do you need to, because the only reason the leaves are falling is because so in the spring as it could grow into something different, you know.
Yes.
And so one of the things that so I one of my clients, basically they teach a course, and so I see a lot of the things that they talk about in post. And so one of the things that they discuss in the podcast is putting your energy towards one thing and making that thing very successful first, and before you add on other things. And so what I'm trying to say is currently is like a lot of times we have so many things that we're trying to space our energy in. But if we want in trying to make those all successful, but we're not able to do that because our energy is so spaced out. But instead, if we could focus on the things, or it could be one thing in each aspect of your life, really focusing on that one thing and being okay with letting other things go, at least for now, so that one thing could be successful. You know, you focusing on your self-care is very important, Kobe, to make sure that you are balanced within your mind, within your soul, to make sure that, you know, you're stress-free. You know, that's very important. And so we have to put our energy towards the things that are okay, and be okay with letting things go, knowing that sometimes when we let things go, some things aren't going to come back. And sometimes when we let things go, it's going to come at the right time. And so just be okay with not doing everything, if that makes sense. Like, we don't have to be snatched, be an entrepreneur, be a mom, be, you know, just, you don't have to do everything at once.
Yeah.
We're praying for long life, you know. And so we have to know that though we might have desires in our hearts, it doesn't have to all be done at the same time. So to focus on one thing and be successful as that will help you be able to do those other things later.
Love it. And I think we missed two of them, preservation and protection.
Okay.
And for the preservation, I mean, we don't have to, you know, stick on these long, but it just talks about autumn represents the preservation of life and its basic necessities. So animals are preparing for the winter by storing food. Farmers are, working on their fall harvest by collecting and reserving crops. We tend to retreat indoors, so our needs essentially are changing during this time. I don't know if y'all have anything to add on that, preservation.
I just got one small point to add on preservation. I just think this makes us get in that mindset of being prepared, of kind of going with your nesting as a pregnant woman, like making sure you're preparing. I love how they said the harvest farmers are collecting their crops and they're preserving them for the future, making sure they have something in the future. Also, they said, I can't remember the other one, but basically it's how the animals, they're even, preparing for the winter. The animals, that's so beautiful. Like this just all goes like how we are just intentionally, strategically designed, how we literally have everything we have innately in us. Like think about that. The animals outside, they don't have a calendar. They not checking off the dates, but they already instinctively know, like, oh, it's about to be winter. I feel the season's changing. So they know to go store up some food and like make sure that they're going to be good because they know the grounds are going to be too cold to produce more crops. Like, isn't that just so beautiful? That just, wow. Wow. So like, it just made me think about planning. So planning for your future. And even if it's not time to get in action mode right now and like actually work that plan out, but like having something set up, like, or even gathering things for the future, like so that you can make sure you're good in the long run. It makes me think like, don't just think about today, think about what you're striving, what you're aspiring to be for preservation. And then yeah, and then the last one, what was the last one? Protection. Oh no, go ahead.
Protection.
Say for preservation.
Oh, I think Tiff had a point.
Oh yeah. So I was just saying on preservation, like I think it's also like preservation spiritually as well. Like what are the things that you can store up? Like, being prepared into what may happen, because like making sure you're leaning on God and the word and remembering what he's saying, like have that in the back of your mind. So when things do come about, you could whip out that scripture or be reminded like, oh wait, I could get through this because I prepared myself. I am preparing myself for whatever's to come, whether good or bad. And that's why I think it's so beautiful. It's like I'm preparing myself, and essentially, like if we're thinking about harvesting, like y'all are planting seeds, y'all, for the harvest that's to come in like the springtime. So this time for preservation is just getting you prepared for your blessing. And so that's why it's essential to do those things, to collect all the knowledge that you need, to lean on the word, to get your spirituality up in whatever way that is, so that when your blessing comes, that you're prepared, or if something else comes, you're prepared in that way as well.
Beautiful. I love that.
So our next one is protection, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I got something to say for that.
Come on, let's hear it.
Let's talk about it.
So it's like, I got the new apartment, but with that is I'm really protective of who comes here. And so like energy. And so what I'm trying to say is it's easy to be thoughtful, thought, THOT, when you have your own space.
I was really thinking about the other thoughtful too.
It is.
I'm glad that you spelled that out.
It's so easy, your girl's been single for a very long time, and the thoughts, okay? The thoughts and the thoughts, be in your mind. And so what I'm saying is like, I was on the phone with one of my friends, and she was like, oh yeah, if there's any time that you if you have any thought in you, it's gonna come out because you have your apartment now, you're free to do whatever. but it made me really think, though, the flesh is weak. And I would love to have people, but the thing is, like, I know the results that can happen from that as well. So I'm also being very mindful and really have to talk to myself about, like, okay, who are you going to let over your home? Because I do have goals to, one, be married and be intentional when I'm dating and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're talking about protection, though it might be good for the moment, think about the results that can happen. What do you really want in the end? And so I don't think I'm gonna have any men come over right now, unless I'm just know that I'll be intentional about who comes over, and maybe I'll slip up. I'm just saying, to protect myself in the energy of this space, I'll be very intentional, whether I'm intentionally making a bad decision. It's all about protection, though. Protecting my heart, my space, and their heart.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that. And I just wanted to say what the article said. I love that, though. I love that point, Tiff. That was good. That was real good. I loved it. But in the article, it talks about how we exercise to protect ourselves by wearing protective layers, such as like thick fabric, and we also focus on our health by boosting our immunity through our habits and nourishment. So, and it just made me think about, like, protection. Like, this is, we in this pandemic, this, I'm gonna say blessdemic, but we have some byproducts such as that little measly thing, COVID or whatever. And so we want to make sure we're protecting our immune systems for sure. Even though on top of that is regular flu season and cold season, just natural times, and making sure we protect it in that area. And then also praying for God's protection. And this kind of goes with what was the one that we just did? I forget, but preservation, yes, how being prepared, how Tiff was saying, call on God, making sure you prepared in the word, also making sure you protect it and protecting your energy, and protecting, the interactions, like Tiffany said, that you bring, because energy is a real thing. And the people that you bring around you, they are also bringing their energy with them. And so you definitely want to make sure you're surrounding yourself by just good energy. And of course, we live in a world we can't be in good energy at all times, but just being mindful when you do get back in your space, you clear and cleanse that energy to make sure that it is protected. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for protection.
Ooh, woo! Who knew that autumn had so many down symbols?
Right. 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 So, did anybody have anything else? Alrighty, so y'all know what time it is. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. So if this is your first time tuning in on the Soul Feeling Podcast, we always end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So what the heck is an affirmation? An affirmation is any statement that you are using to transform your life. Either you're transforming your life for the good or you're transforming your life for the not so good. Even in the Bible, it states, let the weak say, I am strong. So on those days when you feeling down and out, sick and tired, feeling like the energy around you ain't good, we're not going to speak and feed that thing. We're going to instead speak positivity, uplifting things, encouraging things that's going to get you out of that space. I'm affirming, well, there's 3 of us, and I'm affirming that there are millions, billions, trillions of us all out there tuned in, or just whoever's divinely meant to be. And we're going to go ahead and end this thing off with our positive affirmations. Who wants to go first?
I think I can. Sorry. I am flourishing in every aspect of my life.
I am prepared for whatever comes into my life because I have the protection of God.
I am happy in this new season. I have a clear vision of the changes that I need to make so that I can continue to grow during this time.
Yes, clarity.
Yes.
All right, guys. I forgot what I was going to say. Follow us everywhere. Soul Filling Podcast, SOULFILLING. We are on Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And if you subscribe, do that, please. Also, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, or even if you're not, head on over there, give us a 5-star rating and write something soulful and sweet. It will help more people hear about us and get us higher and higher in the rankings. Lord knows that this needs to blow up in the best way possible. Guys, so much.
Thank you. Until next time, soulmates, we love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.